Hey folks, Coach Patrick here from Endurance Nation, back with another Coach video podcast. In this edition, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why you, yes, you, should find a way to love the treadmill in the winter. It's our out-season training time of year when athletes are focused on working on building incremental run and cycling gains that are going to support their racing season endeavors. And the treadmill can be a really, really important part of that. Of course, there's a lot of things that count against the treadmill, right? It's not very sexy. It sits in a gym. Lots of other people get to use it. It's usually covered in sweat, positioned before a TV you cannot control, perhaps overlooking a window or some class where people actually get to look at you. And since you're running in place, they get to look at you for a long time. Whereas if you had just run by, they'd only see you for a second. There's lots of things that count against a treadmill. Very few of you actually own one, and if you do, you're lucky enough to have it in your own house. But there's a lot of things about a treadmill that are very important and that can help you build the fitness, the character, and the understanding about yourself that's going to help you be successful long-term as a triathlete. So let's break down a little bit about what it means to run on a treadmill. And before I even dive into the benefits of a treadmill, I want to talk very quickly about sort of the basic equipment that you need. You may not be able to pick the quality of treadmill, but we want a decent treadmill. One that is relatively new and seems to be in good shape. Okay, what we're looking for is the ability to get your treadmill up to between about a 1% grade at a minimum, perhaps even up to 1.5%. The idea basically being that a 0% grade on a treadmill is almost like running slightly downhill. Not so great for your gait or your stride. So we want to bring it up just a little bit at a modicum of resistance. Okay, remember the treadmill is doing the work for you. It's effectively moving the road, whereas on a normal day you have to move yourself down the road because the road is fixed. In this case, the road is moving already. You're just bouncing up and down on top of it. So we want a little bit of resistance to that. Okay, so we'll make it about 1%. Number two, you need to bring, like I usually bring a face cloth, something to kind of wipe the sweat off of you because you're going to be doing some serious sweating. You also want to have excellent nutrition. One of the things that I like about the treadmill in the wintertime is that because you're indoors, you tend to sweat a lot more. And when people move outside and run in the winter, they don't really think about nutrition. Like, oh, my runs have been awful for the last couple of weeks. I'm not sure what it is. My fitness seems down. Et cetera, et cetera. And then you find out that they're not even eating or drinking anything because like, well, I can't carry it. It might freeze on me. It's kind of cold. Those bars and blocks are hard to chew. Who needs that stuff? Well, you need it. You're exercising. So make a point when you're on a treadmill, you've got all your stuff, bring it down there and get it ready. In addition to the food and the fluids and that face cloth for your sweat, I also recommend that you bring your own tunes, something to kind of zone out from the noise of all the other people around you, which is nice. And all of your regular tracking devices. So you've got your watch, you've got your heart rate monitor. I run with a GPS watch, so I've got a foot pod from my Garmin that tracks my mileage indoors as well, so I can still use that watch. You still want to capture that workout and don't rely exclusively on the data on the machine in front of you. It's nothing like trying to run a 1 mile repeat on a treadmill and also hold the bar to get your heart rate through your palms. You're trying not to die, okay? So you want to approach the treadmill with just as much preparation and diligence as you would any regular outdoor workout. So why on earth would Coach Patrick from Endurance Nation tell you that you need to get on the treadmill? There's a couple key reasons here in the out season that treadmill becomes important. Number one is consistency. As I've said time and time again, the longer you play the game, the better you get at the game, okay? And things that interrupt your game are injury, illness, etc. And a treadmill helps you avoid a lot of that by getting you off of the icy roads or the narrow roadways due to weather conditions. It gets you out of the dark, shortened daylight time now in the winter, and it puts you in an environment that's very safe and very secure. The odds of you getting hit by a car on a treadmill, I'm pretty sure perhaps only one person in all of creation has ever had that happen to them. You're a lot safer, you're just a lot more secure, and it's a lot more predictable. It's very simple. So that in and of itself helps you kind of keep things rolling. So instead of having to move workouts around because today it's snowing but tomorrow it won't be, if you've got access to a treadmill, you can just hop on the treadmill and get your workout done, which is super, super nice. The other element of the treadmill that I really like in the winter is the ability to adjust your pace incrementally. One of the elements we focus a lot on in the out season is improving your fitness in sort of micro intervals, right? So every week we have to do a little bit more and a little bit in a little bit differently. So we kind of, by the time you get to week 8, you can look all the way back to week 1 and say, wow, look how far I've come in terms of what I've been able to do. A treadmill lets you do that basically with a push of a button. Whereas when you're outside, you've got to really pay attention and know, well, I've got to move from 8-minute pace to 7:50 pace. And you really got to kind of stay on that. And it takes a lot of experience and comfort with your body's effort, the terrain, the conditions, the clothing you're wearing to be able to manage that speed and that effort. Whereas a treadmill just takes a push of a button. So it's a great way to kind of learn how to calibrate the workload with the desired interval. So I think that the treadmill becomes a good bridge to that in-season pacing understanding, especially because you can control it so finitely with a button. Okay. Another element that I think about that's important, and I mentioned this earlier a little bit with nutrition, is that consistency with nutrition. Again, people tend to move into the wintertime and they just throw everything out the window. They don't think about eating, drinking, anything because, well, I'm not really training for a race. Who cares? Every workout is a chance to practice that nutrition. Bring it to the gym. Get it all ready. Prep it out. It's important, and it's an opportunity for you to get it all done right. So on an outdoor run, I might drink 1 fuel belt flask in an hour because it's so cold. I don't even want to move my hands. Whereas indoors, I'll go through 3 or 4 bottles in that same time frame because I'm so hot and because the water and the sports drink is right there for me. So we just simply can't discount that at all. So we've talked about consistency. We've talked about managing your pace increments. I've also talked a little bit about nutrition. Another nice element about running on a treadmill, especially if you happen to be in the gym, is just having your workouts be more social. There's other people there. It takes you out of sort of in that that kind of lonesome solo effort type thing. That's a nice place to be sometimes as an athlete, but other times having a social element to your training is also important. And for those of you who don't have a winter running club, the treadmill is the next best thing. So don't discount that as well. Now, some other things to think about for the treadmill. I would still recommend, even if you are on the treadmill, say if in the out season we have you doing 3 specific runs a week with an optional run off the bike somewhere else. One of those runs is your long run on Sunday. I definitely recommend that you try and get your long run in outside or a portion of that long run done outside. At least 1 good run a week outside. And I choose the long run because there's really not a lot of speed work after that initial part of your main set. And if you're worried about conditions or terrain, you may move that speed work elsewhere so you can enjoy a long, steady run outside. There is some value to being outside for sure. Running on the road is a specific activity different than running on a treadmill. And so if we can maintain that over the year by strategically using the outdoors at a time when you're not trying to do anything with speed and you can bundle up, etc., then I recommend it. Another element that you should consider with treadmills is also your stride length. Again, because the treadmill is moving and you are on top of it versus you moving your body down the road, your stride length will naturally shorten. You're not necessarily pushing all the way off with that big toe joint to complete your stride, activating your glute, etc. And so it is important when you're running on a treadmill to really think about that full length of your stride and to make sure that you're staying loose with your hamstrings and stretching out. It's easy to get tight and get excited with a higher cadence turnover, but you're achieving that higher cadence because the back half of your running stride is become shortened due to the motion of the treadmill. So that's what the outdoor run once a week will help. And also, again, just being a little more diligent with the stretching and foam rolling in the wintertime when you are spending more time on the treadmill. So don't just hate the treadmill, understand the treadmill. Know what the treadmill is there for. Use the treadmill to make the most of your winter. So we have you be consistent, we have you get smarter, and you're better calibrated as an athlete. Your nutrition is spot on for the year, and when the weather turns nice, you're ready to go outside and rock it like you should, right? So this is Coach Patrick with another out-season video podcast. As I mentioned earlier, the out-season training plans are on sale right now in the Endurance Nation store. You can find them online at endurancenation.us. We are the world's largest and most active triathlon team, the 2013 winners of the World Championship Tri Club put on by Ironman, with more triathlon finishes than anyone else in the world. Our team is approaching 1,000 members, and we have people who race every distance from sprint to Ironman. We train together online. It's a great community. We'd love to have you join us sometime. To learn more, Please find us online at endurancenation.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/EnduranceNation or on Twitter at twitter.com/TeamEN. This is Coach Patrick from Endurance Nation signing off. I'll see you guys online or at the races.